A very good afternoon to all my dear students, Mr. Yashraj, Purva, Mohammad Sarfaraz, Ritu Tiwari, Pratibha, Nikita, Pramod, Shweta, Aishwarya, Akhilindeshwar, Nidhi Yadav, and all others who are present with us. A very good afternoon, children. I know how excitedly you have been waiting for today's lecture, and I'm really glad to know that you have revised the first half of conditions and warranties that we have done. If you have any queries, you can ask me in today's session. Today, children, we will be completing the chapter of conditions and warranties. We'll do their MCQs also, and day after tomorrow, we'll be starting with a new chapter. So we will try to cover a descriptive question as we did for the last unit 1 as well. So similarly, we'll try to cover few descriptive questions and MCQs for chapter 2 as well. Manjunathan, Mehek, Shriyas, Soumya Ranjan, Aditi, Ayushi, Tamanna, Gufran, good afternoon, children. Ayasha, Yushri, and all those sending good morning. Morning, I hope you have woken up in time. Srishti, Ankita, Aryan, all of you. All right, Lisa, Jen, Tina, Savesh, Abhishek, you'll get enough time for your names to be announced when we move into the MCQs. So let's start the session from where we left. So stipulations, you all remember stipulations. So for what is a stipulation? Let's announce the name of good afternoons along with the meaning of stipulation. What is the meaning of stipulation? Yes, Arpisha, Ditya, Kumakshi, all those that just joined. Good afternoon, children. So before we begin with the session, in the last session, we have spoken a lot about stipulation as to time, why it is important. But before that, we have also had a discussion in detail about what is stipulation. So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of stipulation? Alfie Thangal, good afternoon. Sunil Sharma, Arpi. Yes, I'm waiting for the answers. I hope you have got my question. I'm asking, what is the meaning of stipulation? Hota kya hai stipulation? Before we move ahead to conditions, warranties, and other things, what is the meaning of the term stipulation? It is a representation that affects the contract, art of selling the goods, representation of goods. Okay, Manjunathan, we'll take that topic as well. Representation which forms the contract. Stipulation is a representation made by the seller. So excellent. Almost all of you are correct. You have framed the definition in your own different words, but exactly that's correct. It is a kind of representation given for the goods by the seller that he really wants to make you enter into a contract with him. The stipulation, which are very important, which helps us to form a part of contract, are known as conditions, and the stipulations which are related to the contract, but they're not very, very important part of the contract, are known as warranties. Okay, very good. All of you are almost correct. One child has asked me to explain when the breach of condition is treated as warranty. I will just take it up. But before that, another test of all of you I want to take. So in case there is a breach of warranty, can I return the goods? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? In case there is a breach of warranty, can I return the goods and claim the damages, or what is the remedy which is available to me? What can be done? Sotin Kumar, excellent. Your answer was correct. Ayush, Tejas, Shriyas, Aditi, Purva, Lisa, Mehek, Pratibha, Gufran, all of you were correct. Arpi, Sunil, Pramod, Sarvesh, Yash, Nikita, Tejas, Shrishti, Aishwarya, Abhishek, Ritu, all of you were correct in the previous question. Okay, Alfie Thangal, so you said you're the first one to write no, ma'am, but you should have written the complete answer. So what is the remedy that is available for breach of warranty? Definitely that's correct. Kumakshi, Pramod, Shweta, Arpi, Aryan, all of you are correct. The goods cannot be returned in case of breach of warranty, but we only we can claim the damages. All right, all of you are correct. That's nice. Okay, Mohammad Sarfaraz is saying, due to some problem, I was not able to attend the last class, but I covered it up. I have a doubt on hire purchase. Yes, definitely, you can ask your doubts about hire purchase. So there is no problem in that. Whatever doubt you want to ask, you can ask me that specific question. You can send me. We won't be repeating the whole topic. Okay. Yes, Aditi Salvi, that's excellent because we can only sue for the damages. We don't have right to return the goods. That is a very nice, complete answer. Okay, Kushagra Shukla, we'll try to do that as well. Don't worry. Nikita, Abhishek, Tejas, Ritu, Aishwarya, all of you are correct now. All right, good. So that means my kids have revised their task. They know the meaning of stipulation. They know what is condition. They know what is warranty. They also know what happens when condition is not fulfilled. You can return the goods and claim the damages. But if a warranty is breached, then we can only claim the damages. We cannot return the goods. After that, we discussed about the cases, and stipulation as to time is very, very important. So we have already discussed, remember those wedding lehengas and birthday examples. After that, we discussed a very important topic, when we can convert the stipulation, means when the breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty. So 5-6 students have raised the query related to this point. So let's have a quick recap of this point. So children, basically it talks about which are the cases in which the buyer does not want to return the goods. He only wants to claim the damages. He has become so obsessed with the goods, even if it was not as per the choice. He has decided that I am going to keep these goods and I will only claim the damages. I will not return the goods. So these are the cases in which first are the voluntary cases where the buyer had the option. He just waived off his right. He said, okay, even if you're not, I am the buyer, I was dealing with you as a seller. I told you, look, even if you'll not send the goods of my choice, I might claim the damages, but I've give up my right of returning the goods. Or the circumstances that the goods cannot be returned. So it was such that you have accepted the goods and now it is not possible for you to return, or you have become so fond of the goods that you really don't want to return the goods. So both the cases, first and second, are interrelated. It is a voluntary choice of the buyer. The third and fourth are the compulsory treatment of breach of warranty. Why? Because you have accepted the part of the goods. Now you have to accept the remaining part. You cannot say that I've taken one load of basmati rice mixed with the other rice and I will not accept the others. If you have accepted the part of the goods and the contract is not divisible. If it is divisible, then it's okay.
Recording in progress.
But if it is not divisible, then you might not return. And the last condition is, that is, if it is excused by the reason of law, something which has become impossible to perform. So A wanted to sell his horse to B and the horse has itself died. It has become supervening impossibility. Now you cannot return the goods. All right, so these are the cases where the breach of condition might be treated as a breach of warranty, and hence the seller can only claim the damages and will not be able, buyer can only claim the damages and will not be able to return the goods. Going ahead, we also had the discussion about what is express conditions and what is implied conditions. So expressed are those which are told by words spoken or written, where I've expressly told you that, ma'am, I want a water bottle which should be of red color, and then I have expressly required that thing. The seller has to fulfill that express condition. You cannot say that you have put it in, packed it in the box, and I went home and I opened the box. It was not of red color, it was of blue color. Then the breach of express condition has occurred. You can go and return it in the market to the same seller. And that example of touring purposes where the car was purchased, that is exactly the example of express condition. Now today we are going to discuss very important 7 types of implied conditions. Now, what is the meaning of implied? I told you by conduct of behavior. So if we talk about conditions, we also discussed the example of restaurant last time. So here we're not into services, into sale of goods. We have to do sale and purchase. So here, if I'm buying the pen from you, I told you it should be for the purpose of writing. If I'm buying the car from you, it should be for the purpose of driving. All right. Whatever things you are buying, at times you don't have to tell the buyer, tell the seller that it should be mercantile. So if you're a grocery person, grocery store you're running, and I went to your shop to buy certain biscuits, do I need to tell you that they should be edible? If you sell me the biscuits which are, if you are into bakery and you're giving fresh biscuits, and you generally write the date of manufacturing and expiry also on above of it. And I read it, it was written that it is within the time period. But when I went home, they really tasted, they were rotten and they were spoiled, and they were not at all of good quality. They were not mercantable. Mercantable means they were not suitable for the purpose. One could not eat them. So whose fault is it? Do you expect me as a buyer to tell you that the goods should be of good quality? Don't you think that if you have opened up a store in the market, it is your legal and moral responsibility to sell it or genuine things? That means you're doing fraud with people if you are giving a defective products to another person. So law says there are certain hidden implied conditions. Buyer will not every time come to your shop and he will tell you that, you look, the goods should be of clean quality. I should not have any germs. The goods should not be having any germs. The goods should be of mercantile quality. They should be wholesome. If you're buying a Amul's milk packet, you will just read the date of expiry and that's it. The milk should be suitable for usage, right? You will not go and tell him that I have to drink this milk, so please make sure that it is edible. It is okay for drinking. These are not the things which are to be told, right? So it is implied by the conduct. So sale of goods try to tell you that there's certain conditions. If those conditions are, even if silent, even if the buyer has not told you, if they are breached, then it is known as breach of implied condition. Buyer will quietly go and return the goods and he will claim his money back, and also he has the right to claim the damages. So one by one, we will be understanding all these kind of conditions. Number one condition, which is a very, very important condition and examiner's favorite, it has come many number of times as a part of descriptive case study also. So it says condition as to title. So what is the meaning of title? Quickly, let's have a quick test of yours. What is the meaning of title? If the goods are, Miss Thomas says, if the goods are expired, can we claim breach of condition? So Miss Thomas, there is a rule of caveat emptor, which we'll be doing today, which says that let the buyer be aware. So if you go to the shop and you have checked the expiry date, and if it is written that the goods are expired, then it is your fault if you're buying those goods. So today I'm going to teach you, Abhi, what we are talking is the places where the seller will be at fault. But after a while, I'll just be talking about certain things where the buyer also has to be very careful in buying the goods. So say, for example, you went to market and you had to buy a packet of paracetamol. So you know it's a medicine, paracetamol, crocin. If you'll buy that packet, what will you do when we go to the chemist? We generally check the date of expiry so that the medicine should be within the date so that we can consume it. So now if you have not checked the date of expiry and the medicine was already expired, then law says it is your fault. It is your responsibility also to check the date of expiry. Similarly, if you have not checked the date of expiry for biscuits also, you should be little careful. Yes, obviously you can have a fight with the seller on that. You can go and talk to him. Why you are giving me such products which are complete, they're not out of date, out of stock. So then you can have a talk, but caveat emptor will teach you where he holds you as a buyer responsible. Okay. All right. Yes, Mr. R.N. Kumar, involuntary breach also, you can breach of where you have waived off your condition, you can claim the damages. All right, Aman Kumar, you want to ask something, you can ask that. Ma'am, where can I find the amendment? Mr. Vicky Kumar, whatever amendments that has occurred in the act for your this new paper, May 23 paper, which is coming up, all those will be covered in these sessions. Okay, all those who have read, ma'am, title means ownership. That's absolutely correct. So Isha Pandit says title means majority. So that is not a correct answer. So title basically means ownership. All of you have said the correct answer. Omkar, Raditya, Aryan, Aishwarya, Kushagra, all of you are correct. Title means ownership. So now, children, tell me one very interesting thing. When you go to buy your stationery items from the shopkeeper, do you ask the shopkeeper that, sir, are you owner of these goods? So you went to market to buy a ball pen or maybe a pencil from the stationery shop. Will you ask that, uncle, do you have right to sell these color pencils? Are you the owner? Do you ask such questions? No, we don't ask. We only say that, sir, it's a stationery shop. Please provide me certain color pencils of this choice. Yehi bologe na? So law says it is assumed when the buyer has come to the seller, he is assuming that you are the owner of the goods. Then only you can sell. You had the title to the goods. There is a very, very important condition as to title. You have to be the owner if you're sitting in the market and selling the goods. What if I purchase the goods and you are not the true owner? Let us see in this example. So it says A purchased a tractor from B who had no title. Means B was not the owner. B was not the owner of the goods, and this innocent buyer A, he went and he told him that this is a very nice red colored tractor and I need a tractor for harvesting in my fields. Why don't I purchase it? So B said, yeah, please buy this tractor, pay me rupees 50,000. And later on, when Mr. A was running this tractor in his fields, the true owner of the tractor from whom B has stolen, this Mr. C, he came and he said, Mr. A, come here. Where are you taking my tractor? This is my tractor. A got shocked. He said, how come this is your tractor? I purchased it from B. So C told him that B has already stolen it from my shop. He's not the true owner. What do you think? Is it any mistake of A? It says breach of implied condition as to ownership has occurred. Now C has full right to take his tractor back. And what will this innocent buyer do? He will go to Mr. B and claim his money back. Because in breach of implied condition, we are entitled to return the goods and we can claim the money back. So goods he will be returning to the true owner, that is Mr. C, and money he will claim from the seller. Samajh aa gaya? Let's do word to word, which is written in the study material, because condition as to title has so many things which we should read from the study as well. Okay, let me show it to you like here. So the first condition as to title, section 14, subsection A, clause A says, in every contract of sale, there is an agreement to the contrary. First implied condition is that the seller has a right to sell the goods, or in agreement to sell, he will have the right to sell the goods when the property is to be passed. What is the meaning of point A and B? It says in simple words, whenever you have the right to sell the goods, you should be the owner of the goods. Whether you are talking about the contract of sale, ये लिख लेना अपने study material में अपने hand से, whether you're talking about contract of sale or you're talking about agreement to sell, you should be the owner of the goods. You cannot say that I'm not the owner of the goods. You're sitting in the Skechers showroom and somebody just came in and you told him that, okay, size 5 is not available. Please come after 10 days, size 5 will be available. And you're not even the owner and you're making an agreement to sell. Can you do that? Law says neither you can make an agreement to sell nor you can make a contract of sale if you are not the owner. You have to be the owner of the goods. So the implied condition is that the seller has the right to sell the goods at the time when the property is to be passed. Means whenever you're passing the property, means whenever you're making the sale, you should be the owner of the goods. If the seller's title turns out to be defective, buyer must return the goods to the true owner and recover the price from the seller. So you can write down in your own words, if the seller is not the owner of the goods, if the seller is not the owner of the goods, I hope you all are writing. If seller is not the owner of the goods, in that case, what the buyer can do? Number one, buyer must return the goods to whom? To the true owner. And the buyer will recover the price from the seller. Now, this should go in your notebook, which you have kept, so that you don't have to struggle what was written in condition as to title. The moment we have discussed, the moment I have told you, keep writing down the notes. It's very important, then things become very simpler. Otherwise, children, you tend to get confused कि goods किसको return करने थे और पैसा किससे वापस लेना था. अभी बहुत easy and simple लगता है जब हम 1-to-1 face-to-face बात करें. बाद में रिवाइज करते हुए भी भूलना नहीं है, अभी लिखकर रख लेना. So if the seller is not the owner, return the goods to the true owner. TO means true owner, and recover the price from the seller. S means seller. Fair enough. Now, let us read this example. We have already discussed this example. A purchased the tractor from B, who had no title, means uske paas title nahi tha. He was not the owner. After 2 months, the true owner spotted him. He saw him that he is roaming with my tractor. A was bound to return it to the true owner. However, he filed a case. He could sue B, means he can file a case against B, the seller, and recover his purchase money. Similarly, there is a very interesting example of brand name as well. So, where did it go? Where A sells to B tins of condensed milk labeled as CDF brand. So now A is selling him the condensed milk and the label of the brand was CDF brand. And now this was proven to be an infringement of N company's trademark. Say, for example, you are selling the packet of Maggi with the name of Nestle, and actually it's not Nestle's Maggi. Can you do that? Law says this is infringement of Nestle. Then you cannot use someone else's trademark, right? We cannot do that. So here somebody is selling the goods with the name of CDF brand, and actually this brand was N company's trademark. So it was held, even if you are cheating with others' brand names, not just you're not the owner, you're not even the owner of that particular brand. Here, again, the buyer is entitled to reject the goods, or he can take off the labels. Or he will say that just remove our labels because it is our infringement of our trademarks is happening, means you are misusing our trademark. So you just remove these labels of CDF brand, and he will also claim the damages for the reduced value. If the seller has no title, buyer has to give the goods to the true owner and is entitled to refund of the price. That is for sure. You cannot hold the innocent buyer responsible. उसकी कोई गलती नहीं है, वो तो दुकान देखकर आपके पास आया. आप एज अ सेलर अगर चीट कर रहे हो तो गुड्स भी ट्रू ओनर के पास जाएंगे, आपने बायर को और नुकसान पहुंचाया, उससे गुड्स भी वापस करने पड़े. सो ही विल क्लेम द डैमेजेस आल्सो एंड ही विल आल्सो क्लेम द रिफंड ऑफ द प्राइस मनी. However, in case of trademark, the only option available to him is he can also, if the seller allows, if this true owner of the trademarks, if he allows, you can remove off the labels and then you can use that product. Clear ho gaya? So condition as to title has 2 points to be covered. Number one, if you're not the owner of the goods, you need to return the goods to the true owner and recover the price from the seller. Number two, even if there is any infringement of trademarks, then also you need to return the goods and recover the price money. Fair enough. Sale by description. Next one. Now, children, description is something very, very interesting. I came to your shop and I told you that, I want to buy a product which should be, I want to buy a mobile phone which should be having pink metallic body, and it should be having 6 inches screen, and it should have a good, selfie camera. All these features, the seller is telling me it has all these kind of features. It has good metallic body. The color is also as per choice, and the screen is also as per choice. Everything he told me. And I said, wow. And he showed me also, and I was like, this is nice sample that you're showing me, and description is also very nice. And then I told him that just pack these goods and I will get the bill generated and I'll make the payment. And the mobile phone was good worth amount of, 75,000 rupees. It was a kind of iPhone, okay? So as an iPhone, I think they are more above 1 lakh ranges as well. So maybe thoda sasta range wala 75,000 wala mujhe pasand aa gaya. And it was of my color choice also. But children, when I went home, I opened the box and the mobile phone was not of that pink color which I have requested, which I have made an agreement. He was saying that I have a good of this description, pink metallic body, but the goods was not pink. It was in fact having a black metallic body. गुस्सा आएगा, 75,000 भी दिए हैं, इतनी मुश्किल डील फाइनल करी है, तो अब क्या करा जाए? What rights do I have? Can we say that the goods are as per the description? Absolutely no. There has been a breach of condition that the goods shall correspond with the description, where you are selling the goods by description. Now, there is a difference between express condition and breach of implied condition by description. Now, this is somewhat related with the express condition. Either I, as a buyer, have told you that the goods should be of the description, or the seller has told you that the goods are of such description. So you can write down where the seller makes a contract of sale with you and sell you the goods by description. That means by describing the goods. Then there is an implied condition that the goods shall match with the description given by the seller. If the seller is doing a contract with you by selling the goods by giving its description, then there is an implied condition that the goods shall match with the description given by the seller. Now, you told me that you will be selling me that pink metallic body, and when I opened the box, it was black metallic body. I have straight away the right to go and return the goods and take refund of exact 75,000 rupees. And also I will claim the damages. I had to commute to and fro from just coming here and there. And I also have the right to claim the damages because of this kind of breach of implied condition. The rule is based on the principle that if you contract to sell peas, you cannot compel the buyer to take beans. What is the meaning of peas? You all know peas, matar. What is the meaning of beans? Beans is another different kind of vegetable, the long green beans. So if I have contracted with you that I want to buy peas, you cannot sell me the beans. So it is based on this kind of principle. You cannot cheat the buyer. If you have given him the description, it must be according to description. Buyer is not bound to accept and pay for the goods if they are not according to the description of goods. However, it has to be determined whether buyer has undertaken to purchase the goods by description. So now this is again very, very tricky form where description wale goods the ya general goods the. Let us read it further. Where the description was essential for identifying the goods, where the buyer had agreed to purchase, the goods should not correspond with the description, then it will be breach of condition. So it says it has to be made sure that the contract was made for selling the goods by description. So you have to be sure whether there was any description given or it was a very general. If I just came to your shop, I said I want an iPhone of this much choice, it should be 6 inches, and you said it is absolutely like that, and there was no discussion about the color, then it's okay. But if you have told that it is as per the description, the color will be pink metallic body and it turned out to be black, then there is a mismatch of the description. For example, A at Kolkata. So A is sitting in Kolkata and he's the seller. He sells to B 12 packs of waste silk and they're coming from Murshidabad to Kolkata. Now, this is just a mere information for traveling the goods from one place to another. It says 12 bags of waste silk were ordered and A at Kolkata has sent these 12 packs of waste silk and they are on their way. Now, law says this is an implied condition that the silk should be known in the market as waste silk. एक तरह की कोई silk है, उसका नाम है waste silk. जैसे for example, you purchase a crepe cloth or you purchase a silk sari or organza sari or maybe a georgette cloth. These are all the names of the different variety of type of cloth. Similarly, there is a variety of silk which is known in the market as waste silk. Now, if it is not the same, buyer has the right to return the goods and claim his money back. Similarly, a contract was made, a ship was contracted to be sold as copper fastened vessel, but however, it was only partially copper fastened. Now, what is the meaning of copper fastened? Means I made a contract with you that I will be selling you the ship which will be made up of copper. Copper fastened vessel means it will be covered with the copper metal kind of thing. But it was only partly covered with copper. Apart from other place, maybe some iron or any other kind of metal was used. Here again, the goods were not as per the description. Therefore, he could return the goods and also claim the damages for this kind of breach. Now, the Act is not defining description. It says we simply have to see the class or kind to which the goods belong. All these terms, Egyptian sugar, Java sugar, Egyptian cotton, jute bales of specific shipment, steel of specific dimension, these are all categorized. Like from their characteristics or other class or kind of goods, you can decide what category of goods are they. All right. It may be noted that description in certain cases is human simple statement or representations to identify the particular goods. So very, very generic statements, whatever the buyer and seller are using in order to identify the goods, that is what depends upon the construction of contract. So the goods may be as per the description or choice, or they might be as per different characteristics they can be defined. We simply have to see whether this kind of statements were made while forming a contract or not. Say, for example, if I contract with you that you want to buy Egyptian cotton only, and the contract was made that the cotton which I'll be supplying to you will be of Egyptian quality. Now, if it does not turn out to be same, simply buyer will refuse to accept the goods, and he can also claim the refund of the price money. All right. Clear ho gaya? Sale by description, again, two conditions. If the goods do not correspond to description, we can return the goods and we can also claim the money back. Anyone who is raising the doubts after we complete sale by sample, I will just go to the doubts as well. But let us just complete sale by sample also. So I was mentioning about a thing that when I told you that there is a pink phone that the seller was showing me. So say, for example, I want to buy the phone which is black in color. Now here he has shown me the sample also. So don't you think the sample should be exactly the same? If I have OnePlus phone in my hand, it should be exactly the same phone which has been shown to me. So sale by sample also had this corresponding condition that the bulk of the goods that you're buying should correspond with the sample in quality. Let's take a very interesting example. Since we all know Christmas is coming up. So after 2 days, there is Merry Christmas, you all know that. And say, for example, you all are very fond of sweets and you went to purchase nice, good Christmas cakes. So this seller has kept some sample quality of cakes that he's selling for Christmas. And he said that, ma'am, why don't you come and taste some of these cakes? And you tasted and it was nice, good butterscotch flavor cake. And you liked it. Generally, we sell plum cakes for Christmas. So this was another flavor of butterscotch cake, which you really cherished and you liked it. Now, when you purchased, because you have tested a sample and you told the seller that I want to buy 50 such kind of cakes. So happy with the sample. So you buy 50 such cakes for gifting it to your friends. Now, this bulk means huge quality that you have purchased. This whole bulk of 50 cakes shall correspond with the same taste. It should have the same taste and flavor which was shown in the sample deal. But children, if I tell you that the 50 cakes that you have purchased were of honey almond flavor and the sample was of butterscotch flavor, will you accept the goods? Tell me. Are the goods as per the sample? Will you accept them or you will reject them? What will you do? Mr. Abhishek is asking what will happen if the buyer know that he is not the owner, then please don't buy the goods from him if he is not the true owner. Yes, Kushagra, he is known as a bona fide purchaser. That's correct. It is assumed, definitely that's correct. We always assume that he is the. Ritu Tiwari says, ma'am, बहुत गुस्सा आएगा. Taste change हो गया हमारा. Okay, that's nice. Yes, Alfie Tangal, that is a kind of program language. That's correct. So you will definitely return the goods. Mr. Pramod K, even if the workers are selling, whosoever is selling, if you're not the true owner, you cannot sell the goods. Ownership has to be there. We have to be the owner of the goods. Okay, Sunil Sharma, I'll just come to your query. No, we will reject the goods. Yes, Shweta Sharma, you can take n number of examples. If the sample has been shown to you, you have to see that the bulk must correspond with the sample. All of you have sent me the correct answer. No, ma'am, you're not bound to accept the goods. We shall return the goods because they're not as per the sample. And also, children, we will claim the refund of the money. All right, we will also claim the refund of money and we can also return the goods. Absolutely correct. All of you have sent the correct answer. In sale by description, Abhishek, you simply have to see that if I have given you the description that the goods are of Java quality sugar, then the sugar should be of same quality. Let's take a simpler example. You came to my shop and I showed you this is a good quality basmati rice. And when I supplied you, the goods were not basmati rice, they were very inferior quality rice. That means goods were not as per the description. You can go and return it. Okay. Okay, there was another question somebody has asked. Sunil Sharma says, when purchaser is an illiterate person, in that case, who will be liable, either buyer or seller, for date of expiry of the medicine? So, Mr. Sunil Sharma, I told you that it is your duty as a buyer. I will talk at length when we talk about caveat emptor. Right now, just understand that it is the duty of the buyer to be careful about these kind of things. If the buyer is not aware, he does not have knowledge, he can simply go and have a discussion with the seller when he comes to know about that kind of point. Now, these are all facts and circumstances of the case. That kind of buyer might not even go to the court for such kind of thing. So all these things have to be proven in the court, who was right and who was wrong, and legally the action can be taken. But as a buyer, you should be able to, you should have the basic awareness. Whenever you buy such goods, you will check the date of expiry. Miss Sakin Abanu Burani says, I will reject the goods and I will also sue the baker. Okay, go ahead. You can do that because the goods were not as per the sample. So, but if he is returning the refunding the prize money, then it's okay. Then chill, don't need to sue him. Okay. Now let's complete it. Sale by sample. It says the goods should be as per the sample. The buyer have the reasonable opportunity of comparing the sample. Now, this is again very, very important line where the seller is not allowing you. He's not allowing you to check the sample with the goods which he's selling to you. Then also you can refuse to take the parcels. Let's read this example. It says sale by sample of 2 parcels of wheat was made and the seller allowed the buyer to inspect the smaller parcel but not the larger one. So he's selling him the wheat. He showed him the good quality of wheat. He said, this is good. Now pack the goods for me. He packed the small parcel and he packed the large parcel. The small parcel inspection was allowed. He refused to allow him to check the large parcel. Buyer can straight away refuse to take the goods. He says, if you not allow me to inspect the goods, I will not take them. So examiner can ask you such kind of questions in descriptive studies, that where A is selling the goods to B and the goods are as per the sample. However, B was not allowed to inspect the goods. So what will be your conclusion in that case? So you'll simply conclude that if the buyer is refused to inspect the goods, he can refuse to take the goods from the seller, because the second condition of sale by sample is not fulfilled. Let's see the third clause as well. It says the goods shall be free from any defect which make them unmercantable, which could be not apparent on reasonable examination of the sample. Now, this is talking about the hidden effects, that is latent defects. It simply means that the goods should be free from latent defect, which is also known as a hidden defect. Now, all of you listen very carefully. If I'm a seller and I'm selling you a basmati rice, actually, the rice is not a basmati rice, but I have done a white kind of pure polishing on the rice. And when you came to my shop, you cannot figure it out whether it is a real basmati rice or it is a kind of fraud which has been done by the seller. It was so nicely polished in white color that you could not figure it out. You could not examine by the ordinary examination of goods. You cannot find it out that a defect is there. Now, whose fault is this? It is 100% seller's fault. If seller tries to cheat the buyers, the goods are having any defect which are making them unmercantable, here the buyer can simply refuse to accept the goods and he can go and reject the goods and claim the refund of money back. So a company sold certain shoes which were made of special sole by sample for the French army. So there was a sale of shoes being made. There was a French army. Specifically, a sole was put in them and a sample was shown that the goods are of the same quality. However, when they purchased the goods in bulk for the whole army people, they found that the goods contained paper and it could not be discovered by ordinary inspection. You will not open the shoes and check whether the sole is fine or not. So when you later on discover it was having paper instead of having a special sole. Here, the buyer was entitled to reject the goods. Whole of the prize money was refunded along with the damages. So sale by sample, children, you have to remember these 3 points, that whatever sale is being made by sample, number one, it shall correspond with the quality which is shown in the sample. Secondly, buyers should be given the right to inspect the goods. And third point, the goods shall be free from any latent defects. If I'm hiding the defects, I'm trying to hide it, it's not visible, then the buyer can again reject the goods and claim the refund of the money back. All right, so just go through these implied conditions, since we have huge implied conditions and caveat emptor also to complete today. So we'll just take a halt over here. I'll just take a short break. Just go through these 3 implied conditions and then we will move ahead, so that any doubts if you have, you can ask me then and there. So let's take a small break here. All right, students. I hope you have revised and I have seen your queries also. Nidhi Yadav is asking that please explain the paragraph above the sale of samples. So you can simply write down which paragraph you have not understood. Are you talking about this description kind of thing? All right. So in case of sale of goods by description, we have already understood that if the statement or representation is not as per the question of fact, see, whatever I'm selling to you depends upon a question of fact depending in each case. So for example, some cases it might be a description, some cases it might be just a statement. Remember the definition of stipulation? So any representation which is important part of your sale of contract, that is a condition. So at times, the vendor is making many times of statements. So if it is not that you are having the formation of contract of sale because of that statement, then it might not be the case of sale by description. All right. All right. Abhishek is asking if I want to purchase a painting and the seller telling that you will not find this painting in the whole market and I purchase it. And then later I found the same painting. No, this is no reason. So Mr. Abhishek has given a very nice example, which is not a part of sale by description. This cannot be taken as a sale by description that sellers tell that buy it from me, you will not find it somewhere else, and then you find it somewhere else. This is not, this is exactly what this statement is trying to tell you, that if such kind of statements are being used and you're buying the product, then it is not sale by description. But yes, if he has told you that this painting has the certain white and black colors that you're looking for, but when you opened the painting, it was having red and blue colors instead of white and black, then it will be the sale by description. Implied condition is breached and you can reject the goods. Alfie Thangal is asking if the sale by sample after receiving the goods or not can be returned. Yes, you cannot. Yes, you can return if the goods are not as per the sample. Yes, Aditya, that is a selling strategy. That's absolutely correct. In case Yashraj Gadekar has written a query, the sample A, but the seller sends B type of goods, but I like it and accept and pay money and use that goods. But after some time, seller calls me and confirms the B type goods were wrongly delivered to you. So, Mr. Yashraj, your question exactly deals with the delivery of goods, which will be covered as chapter 3. But here, as a buyer, if you have accepted the goods and you're happy and you just want to treat the breach of condition as breach of warranty, then definitely you can claim the damages. All right. So many of you have written, ma'am, we have completely understood. So let's proceed ahead now. Sale by sample is also clear, children. Now, a very interesting things happen when sample and description gets combined. So I told you that I'm selling you these, I have kept the big walnut pieces as the dry fruits for sample testing. And you tested the walnut and you said that I exactly want this kind of, big white color walnuts from your shop. You have given me the description also, and sample has also been shown. Now the goods has to be fulfilling 3 conditions. The goods must correspond with the sample as well as with the description. Let's take another example of almonds. Say, for example, California almonds. You told me that I want to buy California almonds only, and I showed you the sample. Now the goods should be of the same description. Yes, they are California almonds, and the sample which was shown was also of the same quality. Then definitely, yes, you will accept the goods. But if the goods were shown as a correct sample, but when you deliver the goods, they were different kind of almonds. They were very ordinary almonds. They were not exactly the California almonds. Then no, you will not accept the goods. Or the description was correct, but the sample was not correct. Then also you will not accept the goods. So there are 3 cases that you have to write down in case of sale of goods by sample and description. Number 1, if the goods sold are as per the sample and not as per description, reject the goods. Second will be, if goods are as per description and not as per the sample, then also reject the goods. Only if the goods are as per sample as well as same as per description also, then only you accept the goods. Clear? So the 3 points are very, very important. Now, what many of you will have an understanding, ma'am, how this will happen, that the goods were as per the description, but they were not as per the sample. So let us understand. I hope you all have written. I gave you 1 minute. Just write it down. If the goods sold are as per the sample, but not as per the description, reject the goods. This is the first point. This is the second point. And this is the third point. Okay, I hope you all have written. Now let me show you the example from the presentation. So these two cases we have already covered from the study material. Sale by sample is also clear. Now this is very, very interesting example. So I have put on the pictures over here so that the things become more clearer. When we see a visual presentation, we tend to remember the examples also. So here, if I'm selling you the sunflower oil and I've shown you as a sample, but that sample in itself had the mixture of hemp oil also. Now what happened? Mr. A was the buyer. He went to purchase a certain type of sunflower oil from Mr. B, the seller. So Mr. B has kept this kind of a sample of oil, which was already having sunflower oil plus another quality of oil, that is hemp oil. So the sample which was shown to Mr. A was already having a mixture of different quality of oil in it. And he said, I want sunflower oil. So the description that was given was of the sunflower oil. And the sample children that he has shown to him was sunflower plus hemp oil. Now, when he sold these goods to him in bulk, he only sent him the sunflower oil. Why? Because the contract was for sunflower oil only. But Mr. A said, I to have a different view when I tested the sample, and this supply is not as per the sample. So here in this case, the goods were as per the sample, but the goods were as per the description, but they were not as per the sample, because you have already shown me a mixed sample and I somehow like that sample. So now the sample that you have shown to me, I have purchased the goods on the basis of that sample. And if you're selling me the goods which are not as per the sample, but they're as per the description, I have the right to reject the goods. You will simply reject the goods. You will not ask anything. All right. So now it is clear. So had the goods been of the same sample? Now your question, your turn to answer me. If the goods which the seller, Mr. B, is selling to me, had it been the same sunflower plus hemp oil mix, then will you accept the goods? Yes or no? Then can you say the goods are as per the sample and description both? Ritu Tiwari, okay, very nice question. I'll just answer you. Yes, Sunil Sharma, description means basically the features and characteristics of good. That is why. That is fine. RN Kumar, this is what the seller made a mistake. He was already having a mixture of goods and he showed him the wrong sample. Now, if you have asked me for the description and I have tested a sample, you RN Kumar, as a buyer, you have tested the sample, then only you placed an order, na? So now you have placed an order for the same sample. So the goods should correspond to both the things. Okay, you have given a mixed opinion. Mehek, Purva, Aditya are saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Somebody saying yes, ma'am. Ritu says no, ma'am. Ritu has a very another interesting question. See, she says why there are separate words for the goods by sample and by description. So first we understood that the goods should be sold by as per description. You understood description means the features of the goods, the characteristics of the goods, whatever we have told him, they should be as per that. then you in that condition, the goods shall only be as per description. We are not talking about sample. Second, we talk about goods by sample. I have shown you certain quality of rice. It was a basmati rice. I sold it to you, the same quality, the same that you have seen with sample, things are justified. Only one important point was that there should not be hidden defects in that particular product. Now, this third category is, you have told me, ma'am, we want basmati rice. I showed you rice which had mixture of basmati and other rice also. You tried it, you find it good. But when the box came to your house, it was not as per the sample. Reject the goods. I showed you basmati rice, you liked it. When I sent you the description, it was basmati plus the inferior quality rice. You did not like it because, again, the goods were not as per the description, but here sample was correct. You will reject the goods. I showed you the basmati rice and I sent you the same basmati rice. You will accept the goods. Or in this sunflower case, I showed you the basmati rice along with the mixture. I sent you the same. Again, they were, if not as per the description, you have the right to reject the goods. But had it the case been sale by sample, where only we are relying on the sample, and you like the sample of sunflower and hemp oil mixed, then you can accept the goods as it is. All right. Okay, let's move ahead. Now, condition as to quality and fitness is very, very huge. This is basically covering your entire chapter related to caveat emptor also. So we will do the fifth condition at the end. Before that, let's move to condition as to mercantibility. A bought a black velvet cloth and found it to be damaged by white ants. Now, you have purchased a nice velvet cloth. You wanted to get a dress stitched out of that. And when you purchased it from the shop, it was showing to be a very nice velvet cloth. It was not having any defects. It was not damaged. It was not torn out. Everything was fine. But when you bought the goods home, there were small, small white ants which has bitten the cloth. The cloth was entirely damaged. Now what will you do? Law says you have the right to reject the goods. You can simply reject the goods because the goods were not mercantable. It's very important that the goods should be mercantable. It's very important that the goods should be mercantable. All right. If you are purchasing any certain things, say for example, you went to purchase a sari from a shop and the shopkeeper showed you the entire sari and you have seen it, it's absolutely fine. But when you went home, you found that it was torn from the side. Can you say the goods are mercantable? Obviously, it's not mercantable. It is not in the working condition. It is not proper. You cannot properly use the same kind of. The goods should be such that you can put them to use as and when you have purchased it. But now the quality is damaged, it has ants in it, or it is torn. So you'll have to spend first on repairing the goods. So the goods should be 100% mercantable. All right. Okay, we have another interesting examples of horns given in the study material. Let's read it from the study material as well. So it says a person orders motor horns from the manufacturer of horns. Now there is a dealer who is already dealing in the car horns. Okay. Now the horns which were supplied was crashed and damaged due to bad packing. Don't you think that the horns have already got damaged? Now if I want to place the same horn in my car and if it is not working, why will I pay you for that? So the goods should be of such condition, they should be in proper working condition, they should be of such usage that they can be put to use immediately once you have purchased it from the seller. So condition as to mercantibility also gives the right to the buyer to reject the goods if the goods are not mercantable and you can claim your prize money back. So simply remember, mercantable quality is again not defined. It also simply means that as per your general inspection of the goods should be clear. If you have just inspected the goods, you have found that this velvet cloth is absolutely fine. It does not seem damaged. It's okay. Then it's fine. But when you went home, you put the lights on and you checked the piece properly, there were white ants roaming in that. Say for example, आप घर में पर चीजें खरीदते हो, सूजी खरीदते हो, मैदा खरीदते हो. You purchase that refined flour. You want to bake a cake for Christmas. And then when you came home, you find that it was destroyed by ants. Will you accept it? Won't you just rush back to the grocery store and tell him, see, I just purchased it 5 minutes back and it is not mercantile. So you have full right to return the goods and also take your price back. Now, condition as to wholesomeness is similar as to mercantibility. Here, he is only talking about the eatable products. So if you're buying bread, butter, milk, these everyday items, they should not be contaminated with germs. So somebody supplied the milk which was contaminated and the person had to suffer huge germs. The person got typhoid because of that. So this is not acceptable. You can immediately sue the seller, and you can also file a case against him if the condition as to wholesomeness has been breached. It is a very, very huge implied condition. So this wholesomeness and mercantile are entirely related. Mercantile is related to the cloths and other merchandise kind of things. Wholesomeness is related to your eatables. Whatever eatables you are purchasing from the market, you can see this picture also. It should be good to be used. All right. There is another interesting example, Lee versus the priest, which we'll do from the study material. Let's complete the first implied conditions from the study, and then we will do the implied warranties. So this is condition as to mercantibility. You simply have to remember mercantibility is not defined. It should be that the man of ordinary prudence should accept the goods of such description. We cannot say that if the horns are not working, no, still you have to accept it. It does not make sense. And if the milk is contaminated with germs, you can refuse to accept the goods, or you can sue the seller and claim the damages. Now, children, condition as to quality and fitness is very, very important. You will understand, man keeps telling you a few things which are very important. That means you really have to learn them. So it says there is no implied condition as to quality and fitness. Light. There is no implied condition as to quality and fitness sold for any particular purpose. Condition as to reasonable fitness for a particular purpose may be implied if three conditions are fulfilled. So what is the meaning of this general statement? Ordinarily, there is no implied condition. Means generally, there is no implied condition that the goods should be fit for the purpose of use. You came to my shop and you told me, ma'am, I need a bicycle. I am a seller who is selling those kind of bicycles. That means that bicycle should be fit for your use. There is no implied condition. The bicycle is visible. You have purchased it. That's it. Fine, things are fine. So it says, when does this condition becomes applicable? Number one, if the buyer, you will mark it as points, children. Number one, if the buyer had made known to the seller the purpose of his purchase. Number two, he has relied upon the skill and judgment of the seller. Number three, the seller has been dealing in those kind of goods. Implied condition will not apply if the goods are sold under trademark. Now, this is a separate line. Leave this line. Isko chhod denge hum, niche wali ko. And without that, we will just see the first paragraph to be divided into 3 points. It says the condition as to fitness will be implied if buyer tells the seller the purpose of purchase, he is relying on the skill and judgment of the seller, and the seller in dealing in those kind of goods. Now, a very interesting example comes up here. He has, again, the 3 points are these ABC 3 points. So sometimes study tells you what is there in the section, and then they give you analysis in the simpler language also. So it says buyer has made known to the seller, buyer is relying on the skill and judgment, and the good should be of the same description in which he is dealing. So the very interesting example that we take in this case is of a tailor or a boutique. So let me take your names. One of you wants to get Swati Giri. Okay, Miss Swati Giri wants to get a pants stitched for herself, and she took the cloth and she went to the tailor. So number one, Swati will tell the tailor that, look, I want this cloth to be stitched into pants. Number two, Swati is relying on the judgment and skills of the seller. Seller is already a tailor. He is dealing in such kind of goods. Now, children, if Swati goes to a shopkeeper who is selling biscuits and she tells him that, I want to get a pant stitched, is it wise? No, ma'am, this is not happening. This is not possible. Why? Because if you really need the goods for a certain purpose, you will go to a tailor, right? You will not go to a grocery store. If you're doing such kind of mistakes, then it is your fault. So number one, you have to find the seller who is dealing in such goods. So Swati did all the research and she found that there is a dealer, Mr. X, who is dealing and making the pants. And then she went and told him that I need this pants ready. And then she relied upon the skill and judgment. Here, if she has given the length of the pants to be 36 and the tailor has made the length 31, don't you think that there has been some kind of breach of implied condition? You have relied on the skill and judgment of the tailor, and now he has cut down the length. It is not even now acceptable. So you are bound to reject certain kind of goods. You will not accept it because there has been breach of condition as to quality or fitness. The quality that you have required, the fitness that you wanted has not been fulfilled. So now you can go and return the goods. However, this implied condition is not applicable if the goods are sold under a trademark or patent. Very, very important. You went to purchase a bottle of Coke. Now, Coke is a brand name. Okay, Coke is a brand name, and generally grocery store has kept these bottles of Coke over here. And you picked up one bottle of Coke and you purchased it. You find there was something real defect in Coke. The color has turned, red, or some other problem has occurred. Will you hold the grocery store liable for this Coke bottle? Law says no. Here the patent or trademark has to be held whole. You have to find the real manufacturer. You'll have to go to the manufacturers of this real brand. You cannot hold the seller responsible if the goods are being sold under certain patent's name. Or let's take another example. You said that I want to buy Maggi noodles, which are of Nestle brand. And you purchase Nestle brand, but you have always been eating a different brand of Maggi, say Mama noodles. You have always had Mama noodles. And now when you tasted Nestle, they were not as per your taste. They were not as per your choice. So law says this is your fault. You told me the patent and trademark name. We gave you the goods. So if the goods are being sold under a particular trade name, then there is no implied condition as to quality and fitness. All right, children. So these 3 points are very, very necessary when the breach of implied condition as to quality and fitness has to be seen. You will remember these 3 conditions and you will remember the example of Taylor, which I just gave it to you. Let's read example number 11. A bought a set of false teeth from B, a dentist, but the set was not fit for A's mouth. A rejected the goods and claimed the refund of prize money. Remember this example where I showed you the false teeth? This was the same case which discussed in the previous chapter as well. So here, if the dentist has made the false teeth for you and it is not fit for your mouth, here you have relied on his skill and judgment. It is a contract for work and labor. And now I have the right to reject the goods because quality and fitness has been breached. All right. Similarly, A went to B's shop and asked for a merit swing machine. B gave him the same machine. He said, this is the merit machine that you want, and he gave him. Now here A is relying on the trade name of the machine. जैसे Coke हमने एक brand name के ऊपर rely करा. यहाँ पे हम merit swing machine एक trade name है. Here you are not relying on the skill and judgment of the seller. Therefore, there is no implied condition as to fitness for the buyer's particular usage. Say, for example, when A went home and he tried to use the swing machine, the clothes got toned out. So he cannot go and say that there is breach of implied condition. You told me you want a merit swing machine, I have given you that. You told me I want a Colgate toothpaste, I have given you that. Now don't come and tell me that, Colgate ad was showing that your teeth will turn white and it's not turning white. I am not giving any implied condition for the trademarks. Then you have to go and check with the Colgate manufacturers why it is not happening. You cannot hold the shopkeepers liable for the implied condition for trade name and patents. Clear ho gaya? As a general rule, it is the duty of the buyer to examine the goods thoroughly before he buys them so that he finds that the goods are suitable for the purpose for which he is buying them. This is known as the rule of caveat emptor, which means let the buyer be aware. So children, you have to be very sure when you are buying the goods. You should make a thorough examination. Obviously, as a man of ordinary prudence, means as a man of ordinary intelligence, you will check the goods before buying them. Say, for example, if I have to purchase this water bottle and if it is crashed from here, will you purchase it? No, you will not purchase it because it is not mercantile. It is not as per your need, as per your requirement. So if you find any defect, you can refuse to accept the goods then and there only. You will always apply your mind. You cannot simply hold the seller always responsible. All right. So these two examples are very important when you talk about as to quality and fitness. Okay. So this teeth example we have already discussed. Wholesomeness and mercantile bhi clear ho gaya. Now let's move to the implied warranties. So the warranty is again something where you can have breach of warranty gives you the right to return the goods. Yes, Aryan, you remember it was a contract for work and labor. That's absolutely correct. Mr. Rakesh, what you have not understood, ask me. I will teach you in Hindi, but we cannot talk the entire lecture in Hindi, okay? Mercantile, yes, Nidhi, that's correct. Aditi, mercantile again, I hope you have understood that the goods should be of such quality that they can be put to use. They should not be toned off. They should be edible to eat. Wholesomeness has to be there. Good, Gufran. I'm glad you have understood. Purva also says all clear. That's nice. Okay. All right. Let's move ahead. So warranty means the cases where any breach of implied warranty happens, you can just simply reject the goods and you will only claim the damages and you have no right to reject the goods. So what are the cases of implied warranties? Number one, warranty as to undisturbed possession, as to non-existence incumbences, dangerous nature of goods, and again warranty as to quality and fitness. Let's do one by one all these points. Undisturbed possession means where my possession. Now remember children, the word possession, we were talking about implied condition. There we were talking about the word ownership. Title is ownership. So I told you, if my ownership is breached, what will happen? Okay, let me take your quiz immediately. If the breach of implied condition as to title happens, what is the remedy available to the buyer? Yes, Aryan, that's correct. Good, Tanmeet. I'm happy it's clear. Shri S also says good, nice. Yes, Mr. Abhishek, that's absolutely fine. So children, we just now today read about breach of implied condition. So what is the remedy available to the buyer? Let me see who's the first one to answer. If condition as to title is not met, what will happen? Alfie Thangal Mastan is the first one to send me the answers. Excellent. But your answer is incomplete. Okay, I'm waiting for more answers. Ritu Tiwari, it's correct. Aryan, it's correct. Srishti, it's correct. Refund of the prize money has to be taken and the goods to be returned to the true owner. That's absolutely correct. Alfie Thangal, you simply wrote about the damages. What about the goods? You will return the goods also to the true owner. That's correct. So all those who have sent that the goods will be returned to the true owner, that's correct answer. And the prize money will be claimed from the seller. Absolutely correct. Good. So you have understood about the breach of implied condition as to title. Aisha, Sunil, Tanmeet, Aditi, Srishti, all of you are correct. All right. Now let's understand about the word possession. Possession means the custody of goods. Now this first point of warranty as to undisturbed possession is somewhat related to the condition as to title. Now, when A purchased a second-hand typewriter and he later on found that this typewriter was a stolen one. So A went to B and he said that your typewriter is very nice. Can I purchase it from you? And B quickly sold it to him for rupees 50,000. Later on, Mr. C, who was the true owner, told Mr. A that B has stolen this from his shop and then he has sold it to you. So now I want it back. So in this case, A will return the goods to C, and one is breach of implied condition. I told you he will recover the prize money from Mr. B, and also he will recover the damages from Mr. B. What kind of damages? He was doing his work, all his work has been stopped, his possession, his custody with the goods has been disturbed. He was already using this typewriter, he was doing his work, and somebody has taken it back from him. Don't you think his work is going to suffer now? So 150,000 he is going to recover from that Mr. B, and whatever damages he has suffered, he will claim that also from Mr. B, the seller, who was not the true owner. Okay. So in the same example where I told you about condition as to title was breached in that tractor, so I will recover the prize money from Mr. A, the seller who was there for the tractor. And if as a buyer you have spent any kind of repairing or any kind of defects were there in the tractor and you tried to repair it, replaced it, that money also you will recover as damages from Mr. A, who was not the true owner. So that's why law has given you the first category of breach of warranty, which is related to condition as to title. But since here, Alpit Uncle, you wrote about damages, this is the point about damages. Since the warranty has also been breached, so one, as per implied condition, I will recover the prize money, but I will also recover the damages because my possession, my custody of the goods has also got disturbed. The person has taken back the goods from me. Second point is also very, very interesting. It says non-existence of encumbrances. Encumbrances means certain kind of charges which are there on the goods. So if I am selling you the goods, S sells a car which was given as security by Y against a loan. Now this is very, very interesting. It says somebody said that I really liked your car. He said, I want to buy your car. Let's clear this example entirely from the study material, because then you keep writing, ma'am, वो study वाला example करा दो. So आप study में से इसको read कर लेते हैं. So this we have already discussed. X buys laptop. Earlier it was typewriter. Now we have improved. We have become a little more high tech. So we are using laptops and computers. So instead of typewriter, we have replaced it with the laptop. He buys a laptop and then he spends some money on its repair. Unknown to the parties, it turns out to be the laptop was stolen. Now, this is very, very interesting. Both of them didn't know that it was a stolen one. So now it was to be delivered to their owner. Y will be held responsible for the breach and X will be recovering not only the price, but also the cost of repairs. So this cost of repair is the damages that he will recover from Mr. Y. A pledged his car with C for a loan of rupees 15,000. So A was really in need of money and he went to Mr. C and he said, I'm pledging my car with you. Remember the meaning of pledge, children? I told you pledge means when we give something as a security. So here he is giving his car as a security to Mr. C for taking a loan of rupees 15K and promises to give its possession the next day. A then sells the car to B. One, he has given the car as a security to Mr. C, and then he found another buyer, Mr. B, to whom he is selling this car. On good faith means B thought that he is the owner, he has this car, and it is not under any charge. It is nowhere given as a security, is free from charges. Now here, B told A that either you clear my loan amount, if the car is already given as a security, first you clear that 15,000 rupees, or he himself pay the money and then file a case against A because the car was having charges against it. It was not free from encumbrances. Encumbrances simply means if there are certain kind of charges against the goods, then you must clear the charges. Goods shall be free from any charge in favor of any third party, or it is unknown before the contract is entered. So before entering into the contract, if your goods are attached with any charges or any encumbrances, you will first clear it from the security charges and then only you can sell the goods. Otherwise, if such kind of condition, if such kind of things happen, it will be treated as breach of implied warranty, and the buyer can claim the damages as well as he will ask you to make it free from the charges. Clear ho gaya? Regarding warranty as to quality or fitness by usage of trade, now children, as we told you about the implied condition as to quality and fitness, the general rule that is let the buyer be aware is always applicable. Seller is under no duty to reveal the unflattering truths. If I am the seller and I'm selling you the cloth and I know that it is torn from side, I will always hold the torn side and I will show it to you. It is you, the buyer, who should take the cloth in your hand and see if it is not torn. मैं थोड़ी ना अपनी दुकान की कोई डिफेक्ट्स आपको सामने बताऊंगी. I will never show you about the quality and fitness. You have to be very much sure about that. So similarly, implied warranty as to quality and fitness can be attached by usage of trade. Now, this is very interesting. It says by usage of trade, it can be made clear that the goods should be of such quality that if you have been dealing in that particular trade or customs of trade, then the goods should be as per similar kind of nature. So again, this will be covered as a part of caveat emptor, which we'll be doing in a while, and it will become more clear. The fourth point is disclosure of dangerous nature of goods. Now, sometimes seller is bound to inform the buyer that, for example, if you open this chemical or a bottle of chemical, you should be very careful. Otherwise, the chemical can go in your eyes. So if such dangerous nature is not disclosed by the seller, then it is considered as breach of warranty and seller will be held liable for damages. So disclosure of dangerous nature of goods says if the goods are of dangerous nature, they can cause any harm to you and buyer is ignorant of the danger. Have you read in the medicines it is generally written out of reach of children or do not keep it under sunlight. So all these kind of things should be disclosed, should be written over there. Whatever the nature is dangerous of the goods, it should be told by the seller to the buyer. If he hides it, if he does not tells you and the buyer suffer any losses because of that, buyer can hold the seller liable for the damages. All right, children. So let's take a small break over here. There is some issue in the network. Somebody has written also. Let me just correct the network. And meanwhile, I'll just read your queries. And then we will complete the last topic of caveat emptor and also MCQs are coming up. So stay awake and let's take a small break here. All right, students, welcome back. Okay, many of you have asked me to discuss the example number 17 once again. Yes, Aryan Kumar, in case of student typewriter, it is similar to the breach of implied condition. That's correct. Aditi, that is also correct. Mr. Aditya Darshan, yes, cautious means that you have to be very careful whenever you're purchasing the goods. So that will be covered as part of caveat emptor. Good, Sunil. I'm glad to know that. Okay. So example number 17, all those who could not understand, it simply tells you that if there is any charge, means if the goods has been given as a security, and now the goods are already, in case of this example number 17, the goods are already pledged with Mr. C. How can you say that you are the owner? That's correct. But don't you think that the goods are already having any charge? So tomorrow, Mr. C will go and ask Mr. B that you have purchased this car, but this car is already given as a security for the loan. So why don't you just come and clear the loan amount first? So when we give the goods as a security, as a loan, when we have taken loan, when you repay the loan, you get the goods free from that charge. Remember, in case of pledge, if you'll not repay the loan, he will go and sell your car. So that's why it's very important that the goods should be free from any such kind of charges. They should not be given as security here and there, and then only you can sell off the goods. If you make such kind of mistakes, it will be breach of warranty and the person can claim the damages. Now let's move to a very, very important topic. So I keep telling you very important, but don't worry. This is the same topic important that I told you when we were talking about the quality of fitness. So there is no implied warranty of condition as to quality and fitness for the goods supplied under contract of sale. So this was the same place where we have written important in that condition. And that is why we have written important, because in such kind of implied condition, the rule of caveat emptor becomes applicable. It says, let the buyer be aware. Please, my dear buyer, whenever you're coming to my shop to purchase, make a proper selection and choice of goods. Don't hold the seller responsible every time. You cannot say that the goods turn out to be defective and ye to seller ki galti hai. There is no responsibility for bad selection of goods. Now you went to market and you thought that let me purchase nice Borosil glasses for my house. So whenever somebody come, I will serve them water and juices in my Borosil glasses. So do you know Borosil glasses are very thin. The glass is very thin, but the quality is really nice and good. And there were the kids playing in the house, and one of the kids just touched the glass and it went down and it was broken down into bad pieces. Now, will you say it is seller's fault? Don't you think it was your selection of goods? So if such kind of things happen, you cannot simply just jump up to the conclusion that I'm going to return the goods, there is a defect. This has to be, you have to make the selection of goods very careful. Why are you purchasing Borosil? You should have purchased a little more thick glass for yourself. So all these things have to be telling you that it is the duty of buyer to satisfy himself before buying the goods. If they turn out to be defective or do not serve the purpose, you have to see whether you have relied on the seller's skill or judgment. Then only you can hold the seller responsible. So all these three conditions, children, that we have written in that section 16, implied condition, here it becomes applicable if you have made known to the seller the purpose, you have relied on his seller skills and judgment, seller is into the business of dealing the goods of the description, then yes, you can hold the seller liable. Otherwise, the general rule says, no, the seller is not liable. Buyer has to be very careful before buying the goods. A sold pigs to B and these pigs were infected and caused typhoid to other healthy pigs also. Seller is not bound to disclose the fact that the pigs are unhealthy. You are the buyer, you are buying the pigs. Won't you just go and check the pigs? थोड़ा देखोगे नहीं खरीदने से पहले कि बीमार तो नहीं है ये pigs? इनको कोई problem तो नहीं है? He just purchased it, saw that nice, healthy, good, cute little pigs, and he purchased it, and they were infected, and they infected other pigs also. And then the angry buyer went to the seller and he told him, see, you have given me a defective quality of kind of goods. So here the rule of caveat emptor was applicable. It was held that the buyer should be aware before buying the quality of goods. Let's take another very, very important example. A purchased horse from B and he needed this horse for riding, but he did not mention this fact to B. Now, I am buying a horse from you and I need the horse for riding and I did not tell you. And eventually, kya hua? This horse was not for riding, but it was only for driven by the carriage. वो तो सिर्फ जो घोड़चाल होती है ना, जो भेड़ चाल हम सिर्फ सामान खींचने के लिए, ढोने के लिए, कैरेज के लिए यूज करते हैं, वो हॉर्स उस पर्पस के लिए था और आपको हॉर्स चाहिए था राइडिंग के लिए. So here caveat rule is applicable. You cannot reject the goods or claim compensation. Why didn't you went and check that the horse is fine or not? You have to mention, and you did not even mention. There was no express condition also. If you're just buying a horse and you're silent, silence amounts to acceptance. Remember, you're not telling the purpose. You're not relying on the seller's skill and judgment. Any of these three conditions is not applicable. One of these three conditions is not applicable. Then you cannot hold the seller liable. But in the same example, children, if you have told the seller that I want the horse for riding and he showed you and he told you this is the nice black horse and it is suitable for the purpose, and then it turns out to be horse which is not for riding and it is for driven by the carriage, then you can hold the seller liable. Implied condition has been breached as to quality and fitness. You can go and return the goods and claim your prize money back. Clear ho gaya? So it says caveat emptor is the rule where the buyer should be aware before buying the goods, but this rule has certain exceptions. So number one exceptions is the same quality of fitness and use, which we have already discussed. So if the goods are not as per the quality and fitness, then you can return the goods. But where you are relying on the seller's skill and judgment, this example priest versus last is very, very important. And you know, children, when I was a student of your age, I got so scared to read this example. That means one has to be very, very careful while purchasing the goods. Especially when you go to a medical store, you have to be very, very careful. So in priest versus last, many of you have written, ma'am, will you take this case law also? Definitely, we will do this case law. Why are you worrying? So it says, P, a draper purchased a hot water bottle from retail chemist P. So there was a person, a chemist guy, Mr. P went to him and he said that, you know, my wife is my wife is having pain in her leg and I want to buy a hot water bottle. Now, since winters are going on in North India, if somebody's from North India, you must be seeing such a nice cold weather is there. And many times, you know, we enjoy taking hot water bottles at night also just to warm our body. Hot water bottle ka purpose kya hota hai? To warm ourselves. It should stand boiling water. This is what is the purpose of hot water bottle. You must have seen your parents or mothers at home also, somebody might be using hot water bottle. So the chemist told him that this bottle is meant to hold hot water. And when he gave this bottle to his wife, the bottle just bursted because it was not really a hot water bottle. And the moment you poured the hot water, it just got bursted and it injured his wife. Definitely the chemist will be held liable. Why? Because here, children, you have made known the purpose for which the goods are required. You have already told him, and the chemist is the person who is dealing in such goods. You are relying on the skill and judgment of the chemist, and he is the person who has given you a wrong hot water bottle. Definitely, you can sue him in the court and you can claim damages. But next time you go and buy such kind of things, be very careful. Rule of caveat emptor is also there. So if you're relying on seller skill and judgment, then also try to be very careful before buying the goods. With the article can be used only for one particular purpose, buyer will not tell him. Here it is mandatory for the seller to be responsible for that good. Similarly, an order was placed for some trucks to be used for heavy traffic in a hilly country. But they were unfit for this purpose and they got broken down. They were to be used for heavy traffic, but now they got broken down. He has already told him, seller has made unfit kind of availability of goods. Therefore, breach of implied condition as to quality and fitness has happened. Buyer can simply refuse to accept the goods. So this one is a very important. Priest versus last is an important case law. There is another interesting case law given in Bombay Burma Trading Corporation Limited versus Agma Muhammad. What is timber, children? Timber is a kind of wood. So a certain amount of wood was purchased for the express purpose of using it as railway sleepers and was found to be unfit for the purpose. Therefore, the court said the contract can be voided. The contract was held void means you can just go and return your goods and you can claim your prize money back. So what happened in Bombay Burma Trading Corporation, they made a contract with the railway authorities that we will be supplying you the timber. So the wood or timber that they have supplied was to be used as railway sleepers. And when they applied this kind of thing for making these railway sleepers, it was totally unfit. It just got broken. So here it was held that the contract breach of implied condition as to quality and fitness has occurred. So whenever you will read section 16 quality and fitness for use and fitness as to quality and usage, you will always remember 2 points. एक तो caveat emptor की exception है इसमें. Secondly, where the 3 conditions are satisfied, you will hold the seller responsible. All right. Similarly, the goods purchased under patent and brand name, I told you, you cannot hold the seller responsible. If your example of Coke, you will remember it. Goods sold by description. So where the goods are being sold by description, I told you here it is not buyer's fault, it is seller's fault. Now all those implied conditions that we have read in the first half, where the goods are as per description, if they're not as per description, seller will be responsible. If the goods are brought, it should be of mercantile quality. Mercantile means they should, if the by having an ordinary examination, they should be visibly correct. There should not be any hidden defects in it. Similarly, sale by sample, the goods must correspond with the sample. Here, rule of caveat emptor is not applicable. I came to your shop, you showed me the sample of basmati rice, they should be the basmati rice. You showed me the basmati rice and you gave the description of the same, but when you send at home, the goods were of the sample, but description was you have mixed the inferior quality of rice, I can reject the goods. They should correspond with the sample and description both. Similarly, trade usage. It says in ready-made garment business, there is an implied condition that the garments shall be reasonably fit on the buyer. So if I'm selling you an XL size and you have an XL size, it should be fit for you. It should not be that I'm selling you a small size and you have an XL size and I'm selling you the small size. So again, here can be a breach of implied condition where the seller actively conceals a defect. Let's take a very interesting example. You came to my shop and you said that I want to get a furniture table made for my study table. I got the furniture table made and the leg of the furniture table was broken and I just put a temporary leg over there. And when you came and examined the goods, it was considered to be absolutely fine. The moment you got the table placed in your house, the leg just came out. So here I have so articulately concealed the defect that you could not make it out on the ordinary examination that the leg of the table has been fixed. Buyer is 100% can return the goods and claim the prize money back from the seller. Clear? Let's quickly revise our MCQs also from the, and children, I have uploaded the PPT of both the chapters. I hope you have seen. You have lots and lots of to do on this weekend. Disclosure of dangerous nature. You can see this disinfecting powder. If you have not disclosed, seller is responsible. Usage of trade में आप shares का example learn कर सकते हो. Previous question papers में straight away questions आया हुआ 3 to 4 times it has come. Describe the various types of implied warranties. 4 marks. Straight away you get 4 marks if you write this answer. Let the buyer be aware. Conditions we have already written down also. We have discussed. It is the duty of the buyer to satisfy himself. And if the goods turn out to be defective, only if you have relied on seller's skill and judgment, then seller is held liable. So be careful, beware, slippery surface. It all tells you that the buyer can also slip on the surface if he's not taking caution while selecting the goods. This is the example of pig that we have discussed. Exceptions. Examiner can also give you a question, what is the duty of the seller? So all these exceptions of caveat emptor are the duty of seller, means seller will be held responsible in all these 8 cases. So what is the doctrine of caveat emptor and what are its exceptions? You will simply write what is caveat emptor. You will give this case law, pig wala, Wards versus Hobbs, and you will give these exceptions if 6 marks questions comes up like this. This descriptive case study we will do in the next class. Let us quickly do the MCQs now. The first MCQ here in front of you is the goods must correspond with the sample in case of condition as to sample, condition as to wholesomeness, condition as to description, and all of the above. We still have 3 minutes left. Yes, it is like mortgage. Aditya, that was correct. Yes, Mr. Yashraj, sale of goods is applicable to all the movable goods. Yes, Ms. Tanmeet, if he wrongly claims that the pigs are healthy and they're found to be unhealthy, then you can reject the goods. Yes, timber is dry woods. Yes, Mr. Abhishek Vishwakarma, we will definitely revise caveat emptor once again also when we start the next session. Excellent. All those who have sent the answer 1A, that is condition as to sample, is the correct answer. Only if there is a condition as to sample, then the goods must correspond with the sample. This was just given to confuse you. Second one we have already done in the previous class, and this is the last question for the day, and then we'll wind up. Which of the following is not an implied condition in the contract of sale? A right condition as to title, condition as to sample, condition as to encumbrances, condition as to description. Which is not an implied condition in a contract of sale? Quickly give me the answer for third one. Miss Mehak and Ayushi, you have given the answer for the first one, all of the above. That is incorrect. That was first A option, sale by sample. Aryan Kumar, correct answer for third one. Very good. What about others? Quickly give the correct answer, children. Ayushi correct, Aditi correct, Srishti, Arpi, Alfitangal, Tina, Shweta, Sarve, Srishti, Ashwarya, Surya, all of you are correct, children. Ayushi, Mohammed, Swatigiri, Farheen, Ananya, Ayesha, Manjunathan, Sunil Sharma, Ayushi Jain, Mohammed Sarfaraz, all of you are correct, children. Condition as to encumbrances is not an implied condition. Why? Because it is implied warranty. If there are any encumbrances, you can only claim the damages. All right. Abhishek, right condition as to title. This word right was just given to confuse you. Condition as to title is 100% an implied condition. If you're not the owner, you have breached the implied condition. That means now you can, the buyer has the right to reject the goods, and also he will return the goods to the true owner and claim the prize money from the seller. All right, children, we are already done. So thank you very much. You're required to revise whatever we have discussed in the class today. And in case you have any doubts, you want to ask anything, you can bring up your doubts in the next session. We can clear it out. And those who have written, yes, Somkar, that's correct. Shri, yes, Yashraj, good. I hope you have got a fairly idea of conditions and warranties, and definitely we will revise caveat emptor in the next session before we proceed to third unit, that is transfer of property ownership and delivery of goods. All right, students. What if the buyer know the defect but he need immediate situation? Yes, Mr. Aditya, in that case, if you have come to know the defects and if you have refused to buy the goods, then it's absolutely correct. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you, Ritu Tiwari. Thank you, Ankita, Ayushi, Ayasha. Thank you so much, Aisha Sood. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Abhishek. Definitely, Abhishek, I'll try to do that as well. Thank you so much, children. Goodbye. See you day after tomorrow. Bye.